Good morning, everybody. Thank you for stopping by here at Fortitude Investing. Just wanted to start the day out today with some great information. Today, Trump is apparently supposed to be coming out and signing an executive order to allow for cryptocurrencies to be in 401ks. And I'm all for it. I think this is great. It gives a whole new sector of people who don't necessarily understand finances. So, I say finances, more like investing. It allows for them to invest their retirement into that without really having to ever deal with it. And I think a lot of people are going to be a lot more open to those ideas. So, with that being said, I think you're going to see a lot more long-term investing into crypto, which is fantastic, right? A lot of, very patient, waiting people who wanted to invest into this new asset class who just can't yet. So, we've got ETFs for Bitcoin and Ethereum, which are great. And I don't, I think that they're doing a lot of very good things. And obviously we see all the money coming in. But you start to realize that these ETFs and these companies, they're kind of helping stabilize the price. So we're not seeing as much volatility, which in some aspects can be good or bad, depending on how you look at it. But it's more of a consistency thing. And I think, the more people I talk to, sometimes it's not necessarily just about, crypto or what it represents. Sometimes it's just sheerly volatility, right? It only takes one horror story for people to not want to invest. But with that being said, having the ability for more of a safer option, especially in Bitcoin and Ethereum, I think that's great. I think it's great for your normal, everyday American who doesn't know what to do, but does know that, hey, this Bitcoin stuff, I'm okay investing it in a retirement fund. If it's in an ETF or if it's, a futures or spot, whatever the case may be, right? All for it. And I think that's going to be great. I think that you're going to see a lot more of, over time, more price appreciation, which, and I do say this not to put fear into anybody's head, because that's not what I'm here for. The market for Bitcoin is widening. There's more people coming into this sector of this asset class. And there's only a limited supply, right? And this isn't like it's not like a company, right? They can just, we're going to split the shares, or, there's more of these companies, right, that we can invest in. There's more startups, or there's this, or there's that. Don't get me wrong, there is in crypto, but there's only one Bitcoin, right? There's only 21 million coins that are ever going to be in existence, which, we're on our way to the last, million coins, a little more than 1 million left, right? And you're starting to see exchanges and over-the-counter really start to see the effects of big money investing into this, where there is going to be a supply shortage. And sooner rather than later, I think a lot more people are going to start to see, like, hey, this is a very sought after asset, and we should probably start accumulating this. So I say that to the people who are afraid to maybe take that jump, whether that be to start buying, or whether that's to, do the ETF or whatever. Don't necessarily look at what the price is, but focus on how much you can accumulate, right? Because, 5 years ago, we were like, whoa, Bitcoin just dipped down to $4,000, right? But you didn't buy, right? Because COVID, right? COVID was a very difficult time for a lot of people. I don't necessarily think that your average day-to-day American was buying a lot of Bitcoin, right? So then when Bitcoin went from 4,000 to 20,000, right? They're like, oh, $4,000 would have been great to invest in. Maybe I should do this at 20,000. But again, you're like, well, I'll just wait for the prices to go back down. And then 20,000 turns into 50, 50 turns into 100, and then 100 now we're at 120 at all-time highs. Now we've kind of came back down a little bit. But in a sense, it's like, this coin is going to continue to appreciate in value. It's going to continue to be worth more. And we need to start focusing on not how many coins you can get of Bitcoin, right? No one's just going to go willy-nilly spending hundreds of thousands of dollars into this, coin. Start slowly accumulating. What if it's just $20 a week, $50 a week, $100 a week, right? Whatever you can do to find ways to make money or to make extra money to be able to invest into this. That's what's important here. And again, like I said in my last video, Bitcoin is not as volatile as it was in its conception, right? I mean, look back at 2013 where it rose up to over $300 and then fell right back down, and this is $60, right? That's not what Bitcoin is anymore. Bitcoin is a lot more stable. Bitcoin is a lot more, there's obviously a bigger market cap, right? So it takes a lot more money to move it one way or the other. Bitcoin is a tool for wealth building. And I say this again. Look at who is buying this. Look how they use Bitcoin, right? They're not even really transferring it to fiat currency. These big companies like BlackRock, Fidelity, they are using these as leverage components, right? No one wants to sell this stuff. It's leveraging the Bitcoin, right? Understand what Bitcoin is today and how we can use it to make more money for our ecosystem. Okay, we're not going to see the sharp 100% gains or 100% losses overnight anymore. I don't really think that's going to happen. But I will say that over time, over the next 5, 10, 20 years, Bitcoin's going to continue to keep increasing in value, so that therefore, even if it's $5,000 to $10,000, can turn into, $50,000 to $100,000, which can allow you to leverage to go out and maybe buy a property, buy some real estate, whatever the case may be, right? Like the American dream, own a home, right? That's what this is meant for. But wow, yeah, 401ks, wow. We're really getting into the weeds here. Trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars sitting on the sidelines in retirement. Even if just 5 to 10% of that gets into the crypto market, oh boy, a lot of money. So I just say again and again, hey, stay focused, stay stoic, stay disciplined, right? A fortitude mindset. Do not let anyone fudge you out of your belief. Know why you invest in this. Know why you're here. Thank you guys for stopping by. Thank you for listening. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. See ya.